Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are looking at Winter Woods again. I've used this lovely one, and today we are just going to be using the In the Woods framelets. They come together as a bundle and you save 10% if you get the bundle. But the dies are absolutely lovely, and there's dies in here that aren't in the stamp sets and vice versa. So let's have a look at some of these dies. We have, and this is what we're using today, two lovely tree silhouettes. So they're just the branches, which are absolutely lovely. And I'll show you the others. You've got this lovely one which cuts out the tree and these little pieces lift up. And that's for a background, so you can do a double layer, or you can cut that one, goes round the tree on the front on there. And there's these lovely little leaves which emboss, which again I used the other day. And then there's a snow ridge as well, or a hilly ridge, or whatever you want. So lots of dies to play with. But as I said, we are going to be using these little trees without leaves, and I've already run those through the Big Shot, so because this is going to take a little bit of time, so I have done some preparation in advance. So we are using Cherry Cobbler as the ink, and it tones with, and I've already stuck this down, the DSP. Now this DSP is actually available only for the month of September, and it is completely free. You have to have a hostess order or an order of the value of £200. So get together with some friends and you can get a whole pack of DSP for absolutely nothing. And the nice thing is that although it's quite Christmassy, on the other side there are some patterns which aren't. So this is cut, the DSP is cut at 5¼ inches by 3½ inches. And the mat is 1/4 inch bigger, which is 5½ inches by 3¾ Now I've already stuck it down because if I turn it over, you can see that I've actually cut some things out. I don't like wasting my cardstock for mats, so I always try and cut something out because when you look at it this way, you can't tell. So I've prepared that already. Now we are going to be using some punches in this. So we are going to be using the labeler alphabet. Now the labeler alphabet is something which I use all the time if I want some sentiments that I can't find, or I want some special wording, or I want somebody's name or something. This is absolutely perfect. And we are going to be using the little bulb punch. And we're using this tiny little piece at the bottom because I found a really great way to use that. So what we are going to start off is with the piece of cardstock. We are going to, I've cut 2 of the trees out in garden green. And we're just going to put one on one side and one on the other. Fairly tight up to the top. Now we're using another punch as well. I wanted to put these into sort of little flower pots at the bottom. So I used the vases punch, and I've cut out this vase, which I don't, it's not catching in the light, that vase, and then I just took a piece off of it. So if I show you, as I say, I've done those 2 in advance, and I just watercoloured those in. You could stamp them in solid, you could cut them out, but I thought that they would go right down on the bottom here. So we've now got our 2 pots. And then what I wanted to do was to string some words in between. So I have stamped out happy birthday with the label alphabet in the solid one. If you look at this, you've got solid with the letters exposed so they come out whatever colour you've stamped it on. And you've also got just letters on their own. So I've stamped it out in the solid in the Cherry Cobbler. And if you take the bulb punch and line it up, it fits absolutely perfectly over the letters. So let me punch that one out. I'm trying to do it carefully so they don't fly away. I'm going to put these ones down on here. So just line it up. Punch it out. I can't line up very well because my hands, whoops, shake a little bit, and that's what I didn't want to happen, to fly out. But you can see that they cut out absolutely perfectly. And I've done this as a happy birthday one. So let's see how far that flies. Put that one on there. Just got to cut the H and the A out. So try and line it up without shaking too much. It's the trouble with getting old. You start shaking in your hands. I've started to get arthritis in my thumb as well. So it's one of those things that you have to try and line things up as best you can. But that's why most of our punches are pretty good, because you don't have to press them very hard at all. So I'm just doing it very gently. And you can see the letters have fitted absolutely perfect in there. So I thought that that was an absolute stroke of genius. So we are going to put mini glue dots on the back of them. So let me just turn them over and take a mini glue dot. I have done the birthday because, as I say, I thought that that would take too long. But we're just going to stick a little mini in on the back of here. And I'm lining it up because I found that when I was trying to do it straight down, what was happening was that I wasn't getting it straight. And because this mini glue dot literally fits virtually perfectly over the back of this, it's easier sometimes to just pick it up and line it up rather than to put it down. I suppose if you have perfect eyesight, you'd be able to do it easily, but I'm afraid my eyesight is not the greatest, and with little tiny pieces I do find it easier sometimes to just pick them up so that I get the glue dots exactly where I want them. But the minis are perfect. There's no more sort of cutting down your dimensionals to try and get them small enough, because the minis just are perfect. And because of the shape of them as well, they fit on so many different things. As I say, I'm using them more and more these days. Obviously I use the standard ones as well for main projects where I'm putting something big on, but these little tiny ones, I'm going to have to put this one here. We'll put that on there like that. Okay, so now we have all of our words stamped out and we've got our trees. So I am going to, what I want to do is, I've got some cherry cobbler baker's twine, and I want to just sort of suspend it from the trees. So I think I need to just cut it about like that because I want it in on the trees. So let me find my scissors, my paper snips, and just cut one piece that sort of length. And then I think we're going to have another piece down at the bottom. The birthday is going to be bigger, so I'm just going to make that just a little bit longer. And I'm going to put those on first because otherwise my words aren't going to stick up. So let's have a go and see if we can do this. So what I need to do first of all is to put, let's put these on first. So we're putting the vases on first. And so I want that to go in the bottom, like, is that going to, that's going to stick on there, isn't it? So I do want to try and take some of this. I'm going to, I think the best way of doing this is to put a little Tombow on the actual bottom of the branch here, or the bottom of the trunk, because I want to be able to tuck it. And then we're just going to dab a few little pieces on here because I want to try and get the twine just underneath one of them. So let's put that down first. I want to sort of line it up so that it doesn't come off the top. So I'm just putting it on here and then sticking that down a bit, and hopefully I'll be able to just eke them in underneath on here. We'll see. And then we'll put our little pot in underneath, or on top, and put that down. So you could do this for any celebration you wanted to. birthdays, anniversaries, you could put somebody's name, you could put whatever you want, and obviously you could do it for Christmas as well. So you could put some of those snowy bits on and other little bits and pieces like that and make it a Christmas one. I just wanted to use it for something other than Christmas, and I thought, I'm not going to be able to talk as I just line this up. There you go. I thought that it would work quite nicely for a Christmas one, for a birthday one rather. So let's take that. I've taken the dimensional off of that one, and we're just going to put that down at the bottom. So don't know whether my distances are perfectly lined up, but I think they'll do. So now we're going to try and get this baker's twine, and I just want to try and just put it in underneath. So I think maybe just a little bit of glue on here might work. I might have put a glue dot, but I think for just showing on here, this should, with a bit of luck, work. So I just want it just sort of tucked in underneath so that it's not completely on top. That's fine. And then just sort of hang it down a bit. I might have to cut it off once I've done it. I want it to sort of hang just a little bit. So if I tuck it in underneath where I want it to go, which is underneath this little tiny one here, like that. Okay, so let's pop a little tiny weeny bit of glue under on here so that that's got something to stick onto. You know, I said the other day that I was just at the end of my glue. Well, it's still going. That's the good thing about wet glue. It can last and last and last forever. Right, I'm just going to tuck this up. I should have got my new take your pick tool out, shouldn't I? To just tuck that in up under there. And we're just going to put it down like that. Okay, so we've got that on there. So I'm just going to cut this excess piece off just here because I don't want that in the way. Says me, getting my scissors at an angle and not cutting it nicely. Okay, so we can tuck that bit just in again and put that in. There's probably an easier way of doing this, and as I say, a glue dot probably will have worked better, but I thought I would try it like this and see. Okay, so that's the first one, and then we are going to take the other one in underneath, and I want this to sort of come down from the bottom, so I'm actually going to line that up like this and hang it down. Let's have it just with a sort of a little bit of a slant on here. Okay, I'm just going to put a tiny little bit of glue on here. Hope my head's not coming in. Whoops! Flying my little pieces of things on. Let's put that one just about there and see if we can line it up with there. Because when we put the dimensionals on, they will hold some of the string down, so I only want it to literally just have it so it's hanging. But as I say, I think probably glue dots would have been a better idea, but you live and learn, and it will work with the glue, I think, because I didn't want the dimensionals to show, so I think that will work. And we'll just tuck that down like that. Okay, right, now let's start doing some of these letters. So I'm going to take the H and I'm going to put them fairly sort of, I just wanted them sort of hanging down on the string on here, so let's put them just so they're sort of touching like that. I think that one's upside down actually. Yes, it is. Told you my eyesight wasn't that good. Let's just take that off a minute, turn it up the right way round so we've got the H the right way. And the way I've cut these is I have put the top part so that it is slightly wider, so it hangs better when you're putting it on this. I suppose you could do them all the other way up as long as you do them the same way. So let's put that on there. That's the A. Oh, I think this is going to look quite good. I always love it when you sort of try an idea and it works out and you think, oh, I'm certainly going to be using that little punch to punch out these little labeler alphabet because I use it quite a lot, but it can be a bit tricky sometimes when you can't really, you either have to fussy cut it out with your hands or put that in underneath, or you know, just stamp it straight onto the card this way, or do it on a little strip. This way you can actually do it separately. Let's put that on there. Now it is on sort of a little washing line thing with the twine, so it's not going to be perfectly straight, but that really doesn't matter. I just quite like the combination. And as I say, if you did it with Happy Christmas, you could put little baubles and things on the tree, and having them in a little planter, I think looks great. And obviously the nice thing is that we are using all of our punches all of the time for different things, rather than just using them for one thing and then going like, oh, okay, it's a bulb, it's the bottom of the bulb. No, actually, it punches out all these lovely letters. Now, I think I'm going to have to do these ones a little bit closer together. You could obviously line them up perfectly. I quite like doing things a little bit random. I'm not a completely precise person. I think part of the fun of crafting is to just put it. I do need to spell birthday right though. B-I-R-T says me. It's always when you're talking and you just pick up a letter and stick it down and then go, I've put birthday the wrong way around. So let's just pop that down on there. Let's take the H. As I say, I think this is going to work really, really well. And I was so excited. I can't even remember how I discovered it. I was, I think I wanted to do some lettering. And I had the punch at the side of me while I was doing some lettering with the labeler alphabet. And I suddenly thought, I wonder if that would fit in there. So I tried it, and of course it did. So, which was very exciting. And as I say, I think it's got, again, so many possibilities. I love that Stampin' Up products, everything you use has so many possibilities. And that's part of the fun of crafting for me. I love trying to find as many different ways of using every single product. And when I come up with something which is a little bit unique and I haven't seen anywhere else, I sort of think, well, that's quite good. So if I pick that up, you've now got Happy Birthday on your line with your little plant pots at the bottom. And I'm just going to put this onto the card base like this. And then I think that is probably finished. I could probably put a couple of little embellishments or a little glitter or something like that on there if I wanted to. So some of our little sequins or something, but I'm not going to do that now because I don't want it to look sort of Christmassy. But if you look at that, I think that that's a really clever way of doing the letters. So it is the little tiny piece from the bulb punch with the labeler alphabet. Means that you have your own ticker tape that you can do whatever you want with. So thank you so much for watching me today, and I do look forward to seeing you again. Bye bye.